Las Vegas, Nevada. Christmas Day, December 25th. 1998, 3:47 p.m. You're watching a 32-year-old man walk through the main entrance of the MGM Grand Casino carrying a small leather briefcase. His name is Michael Torres, brown hair, average height, wearing a casual button-down shirt and khaki pants. The kind of outfit that makes you look like a tourist, like someone who drove in from California to spend the holiday gambling because they had nothing better to do. To the security guards scanning the lobby, he's invisible, just another face in a sea of Christmas Day gamblers. What they don't see is that inside that briefcase are 720 casino chips, perfect replicas, counterfeits so sophisticated that they're identical to genuine chips down to the weight, the color, the feel, the subtle security marks that casinos use to prevent exactly this kind of fraud. What they don't know is that Michael Torres has spent 3 years preparing for this day, 3 years researching chip manufacturing, 3 years studying casino security protocols, 3 years planning the perfect crime. And Christmas Day, when casinos are understaffed and attention is divided between gaming operations and holiday celebrations, is when he executes. The brilliant part isn't the counterfeiting itself. People have been making fake casino chips since chips were invented. The brilliant part is the scale and the timing. Michael isn't hitting one casino. He's hitting 15 to 20 casinos across Las Vegas, Reno, and Lake Tahoe, all on the same day, all within a 12-hour window. Medium-sized exchanges at each location. $40,000 to $60,000 worth of chips converted to cash at each cage. Not enough to trigger immediate alarm bells. Not enough to make cashiers call supervisors. Just another gambler cashing out after a good winning session. But when you multiply those exchanges across 20 casinos, when you total the cash collected, the number becomes staggering. Approximately $1 million in a single day. Enough money to disappear forever. Enough money to start over anywhere in the world. Enough money to give his 2 young children the life he never had. Within 24 hours, Michael Torres will complete his exchanges and drive to the Canadian border. Within 72 hours, he'll be on a plane to Central America with his wife and kids. Within 6 months, casino audits will discover the counterfeit chips, but by then, Michael will have vanished completely. No arrests, no prosecution, no trace. Just gone, as if he never existed. But to understand why Michael Torres risked everything on Christmas Day 1998, we need to go back. Back to a childhood surrounded by casinos that never shared their wealth. Back to a father who died 3 days before Christmas while repairing slot machines that made other people rich. Back to the moment when a 10-year-old boy made a promise that would define the rest of his life. Las Vegas, Nevada, 1988. Michael Torres is born in a small apartment 3 blocks off the strip, close enough to see the casino lights from his bedroom window, but far enough that none of that money ever reaches his family. His father, Roberto Torres, works as a slot machine technician. The job pays $9 an hour, no benefits, no overtime, just hourly wages repairing the machines that generate millions in casino profits. Roberto spends his days crawling inside slot cabinets, replacing broken mechanisms, troubleshooting electrical problems, keeping the machines running so tourists can feed them quarters and dollars and hundreds. It's honest work, skilled work, but it's invisible work. Casino management doesn't know his name. To them, he's just another technician, replaceable, disposable. Michael's mother, Elena, works as a waitress at a downtown casino. The graveyard shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., serving drinks to gamblers who've been playing all night. She makes $6 an hour plus tips, which average another $30 to $40 per shift if she's lucky. Some nights, drunk players tip generously. Other nights, she works 8 hours and takes home $12 in tips. Michael grows up understanding poverty in a city built on wealth. He sees the casinos, the fountains, the shows, the cars pulling up to valet stands, Ferraris and Lamborghinis, driven by people who bet more on a single hand of blackjack than his parents earn in a month. But his family lives in a 2-bedroom apartment with furniture from Goodwill and a refrigerator that breaks down twice a year. His clothes come from thrift stores. His school supplies get reused until they fall apart. Christmas, when it comes, means 1 or 2 small gifts bought on clearance in January and saved for the following December. Not because his parents don't love him, because there's no money. Because casino workers, the people who make the entire industry function, get paid poverty wages while the industry generates billions. That disparity, that fundamental injustice, shapes Michael's understanding of the world. The casinos aren't fair. They're not generous. They take from everyone, even from the people who work for them. December 22nd, 1998. Michael is 10 years old, 3 days before Christmas. His father is working a late shift at the Stardust Casino, repairing a bank of slot machines that malfunctioned function during the evening rush. The casino floor is crowded. Holiday gamblers, office parties, people celebrating. Roberto is inside a slot machine cabinet, troubleshooting an electrical short when something goes wrong. A power surge, a wiring fault. Nobody ever determines the exact cause. What's certain is that Roberto Torres, 38 years old, is electrocuted while repairing a slot machine. He dies instantly. The casino's emergency response is efficient. Security arrives in seconds, paramedics in minutes, but it's too late. By the time they pull Roberto's body from the machine, he's already gone. The Stardust Casino files an incident report, notifies OSHA, contacts the family, and reopens the slot machines the next day after replacing the faulty wiring. The casino never closes. The machines keep running. Christmas comes anyway. Elena receives a phone call at 11:47 p.m. An administrator from the Stardust, professional and detached, explaining that there's been an accident, that her husband is dead, that she needs to come to the hospital to identify the body. Michael remembers that night with perfect clarity. His mother's face when she hung up the phone, the sound she made, not quite a scream, just a broken sound that came from somewhere deep. The neighbor who stayed with him while his mother went to the hospital. The way Christmas decorations in their apartment, a small plastic tree with lights that blinked on and off, suddenly looked obscene, mocking. 3 days later, on Christmas morning, there are no presents, just an empty apartment and a mother who can't stop crying. The Stardust Casino sends flowers, a sympathy card signed by management, and a check for $2,000, which the letter explains is a compassionate payment, not an admission of liability. Michael, 10 years old, understands something fundamental that Christmas. The casino that killed his father paid his family less than what some gamblers lose on a single hand of blackjack. His father's life was worth $2,000, and the machines he died repairing were back in operation the next day, generating profits, making the casino rich. The years after his father's death are hard. Elena works double shifts, trying to cover rent and bills on a waitress salary. Michael takes odd jobs as soon as he's old enough. Newspaper delivery, grocery store bagger, anything that pays. He's a good student, smart enough to get decent grades without trying too hard. But college isn't realistic. No money, no scholarships, no path forward except more of the same. More service industry jobs, more poverty, more casinos getting rich while workers struggle. At 18, Michael gets a job as a busboy at a casino restaurant, then a dealer school graduate hired at the Tropicana. 20 years old, dealing blackjack, making $10 an hour plus tips. The same cycle his father was trapped in, the same exploitation. He meets Maria, a cocktail waitress, in 1995. They're both 22, both casino workers, both sick of being broke. They get married in a courthouse ceremony that costs $50. No reception, no honeymoon, just two people trying to build something better than what they grew up with. In 1996, their first child is born, a daughter, Sophia. Michael holds her in the hospital and makes a promise. She will never grow up the way he did. She will never wear secondhand clothes because new ones are too expensive. She will never experience Christmas without presents because there's no money. She will have the life he should have had, the life his father should have been able to provide. But how? Michael is 23 years old. He's a blackjack dealer making $24,000 a year. Maria is pregnant with their second child. They're living paycheck to paycheck in a one-bedroom apartment. There's no legal path to the life Michael promised his daughter. Not through dealing cards, not through working harder. The casino industry is designed to keep workers poor while enriching owners. Michael has watched it his entire life. But there's another path, a criminal path, and Michael starts thinking about it seriously. Robbing a casino directly is stupid. Armed robbery triggers immediate law enforcement response. You might get away with $50,000, maybe $100,000 if you're incredibly lucky, but you'll be caught within days. Police, FBI, every agency with jurisdiction will hunt you. The risk-reward ratio is terrible. But what if you didn't rob the casino directly? What if you just exchanged fake chips for real money? Counterfeiting casino chips isn't new. People have tried it for decades. Most get caught quickly because their fakes are obvious. Wrong weight, wrong color, wrong materials. But Michael knows something that most counterfeiters don't. His father spent 20 years working on slot machines, working inside casinos, and he taught Michael things. How casinos operate, how security works, what chips look like, what materials they're made from. Michael starts researching, quietly, carefully. He goes to the library, reads everything about chip manufacturing. He learns that casino chips in the 1990s are made from clay composite materials, specific formulations that give them the right weight and feel. He learns that chips have security features, UV marks, edge spots, specific color patterns. But crucially, in 1998, before RFID technology becomes standard, casino chips don't have electronic tracking. They're bearer instruments. If you present a chip at the cage, the cashier verifies it visually and exchanges it for cash. No serial numbers, no database checks, just visual inspection. 1996 to 1998, 2 years of preparation. Michael continues working as a blackjack dealer, continues living paycheck to paycheck, but every spare moment, every spare dollar goes into his plan. First, he needs to study real chips, not just look at them, but understand them at a technical level. He starts collecting chips from different casinos. Nothing suspicious, just a tourist thing. People collect casino chips as souvenirs. Michael builds a collection of 50 different chips from 20 different casinos. He studies them obsessively, weighs them, measures them, examines them under magnification. He discovers that chips vary by casino. Each property has custom designs, different colors, different edge patterns, different inlays, but the base materials are similar. Clay composite, usually weighing between 8.5 and 10 grams, depending on denomination. The $100 chips are standard. The $500 chips are slightly heavier. Michael needs to replicate these exactly. The manufacturing process is the hard part. Professional chip manufacturers use specialized equipment, compression molds, high-pressure presses, industrial-grade materials. Michael doesn't have access to any of this. He has a garage workspace and a budget of maybe $15,000 saved over 2 years, scraped together from dealing tips and side jobs. He starts experimenting with clay composite formulations, ordering materials through industrial suppliers, acrylic resins, clay powders, pigments. He mixes batches, tests weights, adjusts formulations. The first attempts are disasters. Too light, wrong texture, colors don't match. But Michael is patient. He's methodical. Each failure teaches him something. By mid-1997, after hundreds of test batches, he has a formulation that matches casino chips almost perfectly. Weight within 0.2 grams. Texture indistinguishable by touch. Color close enough that casual inspection won't reveal discrepancies. The next challenge is the design. Casino chips have intricate patterns, edge spots, inlay designs, denominations printed in specific fonts. Michael can't replicate these by hand. He needs printing capability. He finds a solution through a contact, someone who works in a print shop that does commercial work. Michael lies, says he's creating promotional chips for a corporate poker event, needs high-quality replicas for aesthetic purposes. The print shop employee, for $2,000 cash, agrees to create custom inlays. Michael provides exact specifications, colors, fonts, edge patterns. The inlays get printed on high-grade cardstock with UV reactive ink. When Michael presses these inlays into his clay composite base, the result is remarkable. Not perfect. Under close examination by an expert, the fakes would be detected. But in a busy casino cage, during a routine cash exchange, they're indistinguishable from genuine chips. By December 1998, Michael has manufactured 2,400 counterfeit chips, primarily denominations of $100 and $500, with some $25 chips mixed in for smaller exchanges. Different casinos: MGM Grand, Bellagio, Treasure Island, Caesars, Bally's, Tropicana, Mirage, Luxor. Each chip cost him approximately $4 to make. Materials, labor, design costs. $9,600 invested to create $1.2 million face value in chips. A 125-to-1 return if he can successfully exchange them for cash. But there's risk. Enormous risk. If he gets caught, it's federal fraud. 10 years minimum. His children grow up without a father. His wife alone. Everything destroyed. Michael weighs this constantly. The morality, the risk, the justification. He tells himself he's not hurting anyone. Casinos are corporations, billion-dollar enterprises. They can absorb the loss. They killed his father and paid his family $2,000. This is restitution. This is justice. He knows it's rationalization, knows he's committing a crime, but he's also a father, and fathers do what they must to protect their children. He makes his decision. Christmas Day, 1998, when casino security is lightest, when attention is divided, when most employees are thinking about holiday plans rather than scrutinizing chips, that's when he'll execute. Michael spends weeks planning his route. He can't hit 20 casinos in Las Vegas alone. Too concentrated, too easy for security to share information if large chip exchanges happen at multiple properties. He needs to spread exchanges across multiple cities: Las Vegas, Reno, Lake Tahoe, a geographic distribution that prevents any single security team from connecting the dots. His plan requires a car, reliable, nondescript. He buys a used Honda Accord for $4,000, puts it in his wife's maiden name to avoid connections if authorities authorities investigate later. He maps the route. Las Vegas to Reno is 7 hours. Reno to Lake Tahoe is 45 minutes. He can hit 8 casinos in Vegas, 6 in Reno, 4 in Tahoe, 18 total. Medium to large exchanges at each location. $45,000 to $65,000 per casino. Total haul, approximately $1 million. He practices the route, drives it twice in November to verify timing, identifies which casinos to target, chooses properties with busy cages, high tourist traffic, multiple cashier windows, avoids the newest, most advanced casinos like Bellagio, which has state-of-the-art surveillance and stricter chip verification procedures. December 24th, 1998, 10 p.m., Christmas Eve. Michael kisses his wife and children goodnight. Sophia is 2 years old. His son, Marco, is 6 months old. They're asleep in the small apartment. Elena, his mother, is there to watch them while Maria accompanies Michael on the trip. Maria doesn't know the full plan. Michael told her they're driving to Reno for Christmas, meeting friends, a mini vacation. She believes him, or maybe she chooses to believe him. Either way, she's in the car at 6 a.m. on Christmas morning when Michael begins the most important day of his life. Christmas Day, December 25th, 1998, 8:30 a.m. Michael and Maria arrive at their first target, Circus Circus Casino, Las Vegas. The property is busy for Christmas morning. Families with kids visiting the indoor theme park. Gamblers who don't celebrate holidays. Exactly what Michael predicted. He parks in the self-parking garage, tells Maria to wait in the car. He's just running in to meet a friend. She nods, distracted by a magazine. Michael walks into the casino carrying a small leather briefcase. Inside are 120 counterfeit chips, $6,500 chips, and $6,100 chips. Total face value, $36,000. He approaches the main cashier cage, a woman in her 40s, looking tired, counting down her shift hours. Cashing out, Michael says casually, sliding the chips across the counter in organized stacks. The cashier counts them. 60 black $100 chips, 60 purple $500 chips, $36,000 total. She examines several chips from different stacks. Normal procedure. Checks the color, feels the weight, holds one under UV light briefly. Nothing suspicious. 36,000, she confirms. Counts out 360 $100 bills. Michael takes the cash, slides it into his briefcase, thanks her, walks out. Total time, 4 minutes. No alarms, no questions. Success. Second stop, Bally's Casino, 9:30 a.m. Different cashier, different chips. 120 $500 chips, $60,000 cash. The exchange takes longer because of the amount, but the cashier processes it without suspicion. Large cash outs happen on Christmas. Whales getting lucky. Third stop, MGM Grand, 10:45 a.m. This is high stakes. Michael approaches with $150 chips and $4,100 chips, $54,000. The cashier is more careful, examines multiple chips, holds several under UV light, checking for security marks. Michael's heart is pounding. If the UV marks don't match perfectly, if the cashier notices discrepancies, security gets called. He'll be arrested within minutes. The briefcase in his hand suddenly feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, but the cashier finishes inspection, nods. 54,000, counts out the cash in banded stacks. Michael forces himself to breathe normally, takes the money, walks away. $150,000 collected in 3 hours. Fourth stop, Treasure Island, 11:30 a.m. Fifth stop, Caesar's Palace, 12:15 p.m. Sixth stop, Tropicana, 1 p.m. Each exchange smooth, each cashier accepting chips without triggering alarms. Michael is methodical. He varies the amounts. Some cages get $45,000, some get $60,000. The variation makes pattern detection harder. By 2 p.m., Michael has hit 8 Vegas casinos. Total collected, $420,000. Nearly $500,000 in cash, packed in his briefcase, and a second bag he retrieved from the car. He drives north. Maria is starting to ask questions.
Why are we stopping at so many casinos?
Meeting different people, business contacts. It's complicated.
She doesn't look convinced, but doesn't push. They arrive in Reno at 9 p.m. The drive took longer than planned. Holiday traffic. Michael is exhausted, but can't stop now.
Reno casinos are next. Smaller properties, but still major operations. Silver Legacy, 9:30 p.m. El Dorado, 10:15 p.m. Circus Circus Reno, 11 p.m. Atlantis, 11:45 p.m. Each exchange between $45,000 and $55,000. By midnight, Michael has collected another $310,000. Total, $730,000. He's 3/4 of the way to $1 million, but he's running low on counterfeit chips. He has maybe 4 or 5 more exchanges changes left. Enough for Lake Tahoe. They drive to Tahoe through mountain roads, arrive at 1:30 a.m. December 26th, technically the day after Christmas, but casinos are still busy, holiday gamblers extending their trips.
Harrah's Lake Tahoe, 2 a.m. Michael exchanges $62,000. Harvey's Resort, 2:45 a.m. $58,000. Malt Blue, 3:30 a.m. $55,000. Final exchange, Lakeside Inn, 4:15 a.m. Michael slides his last 90 chips across the counter. $8,500 chips and 10 $100 chips. $41,000. A young male cashier, looking half asleep, examines a few chips perfunctorily, counts out the cash. Michael takes it, walks out of the casino, into the cold December night, gets in the car. Maria is sleeping in the passenger seat. Michael sits there, hands trembling, adrenaline finally releasing. He's done it. 18 casinos, approximately $946,000 collected in cash. Close enough to his goal. No arrests, no alarms. The perfect crime. December 26th, 1998, 8 a.m. Michael and Maria check into a motel in Reno. Michael tells Maria he needs to handle some business. She's suspicious now, demands answers. Michael finally tells her a partial truth.
I made a lot of money, nearly $1 million, but we need to leave. Leave the country. Leave everything.
Maria stares at him, fear and shock on her face.
What did you do?
I can't explain right now, but I need you to trust me. Our kids will have a better life, I promise.
Maria is scared, but she's also a mother, and mothers understand sacrifice.
How long do we have?
Days, maybe a week before they figure it out. We need to go to Canada, then from there, somewhere else.
They pack, drive to the Canadian border, cross at Blaine, Washington on December 28th. No issues, no flags. American citizens can cross freely with driver's licenses. From Canada, they fly to Costa Rica on December 30th. Tourist visas, nothing suspicious. In Costa Rica, Michael rents a small house using cash, changes their names through a legal process available to immigrants. Michael Torres becomes Miguel Salazar. Maria becomes Lucia. They tell their children, when they're old enough to understand, that Daddy had to leave America for work, that they're starting a new life. Michael invests the $946,000 carefully, buys property, starts a small construction business that grows steadily, lives modestly but comfortably, never attracts attention. Meanwhile, in the United States, casino audits discover the counterfeit chips in January 1999. Circus Circus finds them first. 67 counterfeit chips, mostly $500 denominations, turn up during routine inventory. They examine them closely. The chips are good, really good, but not perfect. Under magnification, microscopic printing inconsistencies appear. The casino contacts the Nevada Gaming Control Board. Within a week, other casinos report similar discoveries. Bally's, MGM Grand, El Dorado, Harrah's. The pattern emerges. Same manufacturing technique, same materials, same distribution pattern. Christmas Day, 1998. Approximately 18 casinos hit across Nevada and California. Total loss estimated $920,000 to $950,000. The FBI opens a major investigation. Nearly $1 million in counterfeit chip fraud is unprecedented. They interview casino employees, review surveillance footage from all 18 properties, but the images are grainy. The suspect, a Hispanic male in his late 20s or early 30s, is generic looking. No distinguishing features, no criminal record match. They check for suspects with chip counterfeiting history, run databases, interview known counterfeiters. Nothing matches the sophistication of this operation. They analyze the chips forensically. The manufacturing technique is professional grade. Whoever made these knew exactly what they were doing, had access to specialized materials and equipment. The investigation expands. FBI checks flight records, border crossings, financial transactions, but without a suspect name, without a specific lead, they're searching blindly. By mid-1999, after 6 months of intensive investigation and no breaks, the case goes cold. The casinos absorb the losses, implement new security measures, mandatory UV verification, better cashier training, stricter limits on cash exchanges over $25,000, and eventually RFID chips that make counterfeiting functionally impossible. The man who pulled off the $1 million Christmas chip scam was never identified, never caught, just gone. 15 years later, in 2013, a retired FBI agent gives an interview to a Las Vegas journalist. He mentions the Christmas chip scam as one of the cases that haunts him.
Someone out there committed nearly the perfect crime. Counterfeited chips, hit 18 casinos on Christmas Day, walked away with almost $1 million, and vanished. We never figured out who, never even got close. It's the biggest unsolved chip counterfeiting case in Nevada history.
The journalist asks if the agent thinks the counterfeiter is still alive.
Probably. He'd be in his late 40s now. Maybe he's living in another country. Maybe he's right here in Vegas under a different name. Maybe he's dead. We'll never know. The interesting part is, the guy was smart. He didn't get greedy. He didn't try for $2 million or $5 million. He took what he planned for and stopped. That's discipline. That's planning. Whoever he was, he understood that in crime, knowing when to stop is more important than knowing how to start.
Is Michael Torres, now Miguel Salazar, still alive? Probably. Is he living in Costa Rica? Maybe. Or maybe Mexico, Panama, Guatemala, anywhere in Central America where Americans with money can disappear into expatriate communities. Did he give his children the life he promised? With nearly $1 million invested wisely over 20 years, yes, Sophia would be 26 now. Marco would be 24, old enough to have lives of their own, to ask questions about why their father changed their names, why they can never go back to America. Did Michael tell them the truth, or does he carry the secret alone? We'll never know. What we do know is that on Christmas Day, 1998, a casino worker's son, whose father died repairing slot machines for poverty wages, walked into 18 casinos and took back what he believed he was owed. Not through violence, not through armed robbery, through intelligence, planning, and 3 years of meticulous preparation. He beat the casinos for nearly $1 million, the same casinos that paid his family $2,000 for his father's life, and he got away with it. But here's the final question nobody asks. Was it worth it? Michael Torres, if he's still alive, if he's reading this somehow, knows the answer. He can never return to America, can never visit his father's grave, can never reconnect with his mother if she's still alive. He lives under a false name. His children grew up with a lie. The $946,000 he stole, even invested carefully, provided a comfortable middle-class life in Central America. But it's not wealth. It's not luxury. It's security, freedom from poverty, the ability to give his children education, opportunities, a future. Maybe that's worth it. Maybe providing for his children, giving them opportunities he never had, justifies everything. Or maybe, late at night, Michael Torres lies awake wondering if he should have just stayed, just worked his dealer job, just lived small. The truth is complicated. He committed a crime. He defrauded casinos out of nearly $1 million. That's not heroic. But he also exposed something. The casinos, these billion-dollar corporations built on taking money from working people, couldn't protect themselves against a single determined individual with a plan and 3 years to execute it. And that's the real legacy of the $1 million Christmas chip scam. Not the money, not the escape, but the proof that the system, for all its power, has vulnerabilities. And sometimes, the people it exploits find a way to exploit it back.